So, the real reason why I opened my own private tattoo studio. So the biggest reason why, and a lot of people think, oh, he hates tattoo shops. Why do you hate on tattoo shops so much? I don't. It's just, for me, it doesn't really fit my personality the best, the type of clientele that I want. I just think that private studios bring a lot of more intimacy, privacy, and more of a like one-on-one rapport and connection that you can build. And I think tattooing is one of those things that deserves that. And the people who are wanting those tattoos deserve that are paying that money deserve that. Again, it doesn't fit everyone's like needs or desires. Like, some people really enjoy tattoo shops. I know a bunch of tattoo artists who like that type of vibe. I know a lot of people who like being tattooed in that type of vibe. I get it. I totally get it. It's just, for me, I vowed one thing to myself from when I first started tattooing, and it was that I always wanted to tattoo the way that I want to be tattooed. So, meaning, I always valued when people had private studios, or even when they were at their house, or whatever it was, just some sort of some sort of an environment that was a little bit more closed off, rather than just around a whole bunch of people, a super loud environment. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it was just never really my thing. I really wanted to create kind of an environment that you didn't really know or feel like it's a tattoo place when you're in there, or when you see it on camera, or whatever it is. I just wanted a really chill environment. I also wanted something that would be able to kind of like separate me from the next person, or the next artist, or the next industry, or whatever it is. I just wanted to create an environment that I could create a lot of cool content, a lot of things that looked good, and also an environment for the client where it's relaxed. There's a TV in there, there's 2 TVs in there, there's, it's a darker room with more ambient lighting, rather than like super blinding, overhead lights, which is great for the artist, but like, for me, all I really need is just a light that's like right here. I don't need lights throughout the entire place. I don't need it super just bright as heck. Like, I just don't need that. I also knew, like, when I was getting tattooed, when you have a ring light that's plastered over your face, and you're just staring up at it the whole time while you're getting your arm tattooed, it's just an uncomfortable thing. Like, it was just so, I don't know why it was so annoying for me, but that's why I took it super personally, like, to not have that for people. Now, there's times that I have to move a light in front of them or whatever it is, but for the most part, I just wanted it to be kind of like a darker, more relaxed type of room and environment. I also think it looks a lot better on camera with the lights that I have. I knew that black walls, black ceilings, everything like that, the light would kind of bounce and really attract on camera. The whole reason why I keep talking about on camera stuff is because that's how I do my marketing. I do a lot of stuff on social media. I make a lot of content, and when you have a place that looks aesthetically good, that entices people to stop scrolling and to watch the video and see what it's about, it's a type of thing that makes, it's just, it grabs attention, I guess, in one way or another, and a lot of people won't really understand that. And I did the whole thing of like, I was at 2 different places where it was just super white walls, super basic, very brightly lit, and it was great, but it was just nothing that looked good on camera. Nothing looked good to the clients when they saw it. It was nothing that differentiated myself from the next person, because at the end of the day, in 2024, your art can be great, but everyone has great art now. This dude is really good, that dude's really good, that girl's really good. Like, everyone's really good at art now. You know what I mean? Everyone can tattoo pretty good, and I've always believed, like, I kind of realized this early on, is that if your art isn't like truly one of one, where like no one else does that style, it's just like you're in that top 1% of like, you have a crazy style or whatever it is, you can't really get away with just posting your work and being done now. You have to present yourself, you have to market yourself, you have to advertise the environment you're in, what you bring, the service you provide, it's more than just like that, just that tattoo, just the tattoos you do. For me, I've always prided myself on that, like creating a good experience, customer service, just the overall everything you get inside of my brand is the thing that I always try and push. Again, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people, they don't care if they're getting tattooed on somebody's couch in the middle of the hood. If it's crazy, nice artwork, that's all they care about. And I get that too, because I was definitely one of those people. But I think as you go more and more on the business side, on, the person to person, the client to artist relationship, there's things that you start seeing that they may want or hearing that they might want. And I've always tried to take care of those things. I've always asked people, what do they like about an experience? What do they like about being tattooed? And I've always heard the same thing, is like they look forward to that experience. Like it's not just the artwork they leave with, they look forward to the experience. Going to that studio, going to that shop, smelling the green soap, smelling that certain smell, whatever it is, like those are things that really play into people's like therapy, ink therapy. Like that's what I've always heard people talk about. And I think it's really common. I think a lot of people do use tattoos as almost an ink therapy. And so for me, I've always looked at it like, why not create an environment that even caters to that even more? You know what I mean? Again, I might be overthinking that. A lot of people might say, bro, you're way overthinking this. But like for me, I've seen it work. I've seen it pay off.
Bro, the aesthetic in here came out fire.
You like it?
Yeah, I really like it. That's good, bro. Like it feels like super welcoming, like chill.
Yeah, more like laid back and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know the target audience that I'm trying to attract, the specific type of clientele I'm trying to attract, and I think it's necessary in that way. Now, again, like I've said a million times, my way is not the only way, it's not the best way, it's not whatever. It's just that's the way that works good for me. Another reason why I went more the private studio route rather than working in a shop or another bigger studio or anything like that is, for me personally, it's not that I don't work well with others necessarily, it's just that I do better on my own. Like there's a lot of things that you can pick up, different tricks or different, things that people have, other artists have in different shops that can definitely help you out. And I totally get that. But for me, I've always enjoyed my personal space. I enjoyed just kind of doing my own thing in my own lane. That's kind of how I've always been in my whole life. So for me, this is what made more sense as far as like me being a tattoo artist. Shops, I've just never really found one that I connected with enough to be like, all right, this is where I want to be at. This is where I want to be every day, all day. Like, it's just not one of those things. Like, I enjoy the tattoo that I'm doing. I tattoo once in a day. I do that tattoo and then I go home, and that's what I look forward to, doing that specific tattoo and then going home. Like, tattoo shops are a better vibe for kind of hanging out and, you're around your homies and everything, and that's all cool. It's just for me personally, the studio vibe of like just being me in there has always kind of fit me better. Now, on the flip side of that, where I kind of fill in that gap of where there is times that I'm like, damn, I wish I was around another artist, or there was more artists in here that I could ask a question about or get some feedback on, or just maybe vent about something in the industry that they can relate to. The way that I get that though is by going to expos. So for me, what works good is like, I have a private studio, but then once, twice, 3, 4 times a year even, I'll go to an expo. And then that's when I'll get that kind of like whole interaction with other artists, get feedback, network, talk to a bunch of clientele, whatever it is. Like, that's where I get that in those 3 days. And then after those 3 days, I can go back to my studio. Like, that's just kind of what has always worked good for me, because I do get kind of overwhelmed with like just always being around a bunch of people all the time. Like, it's just, yeah, it's never worked good for me. But yeah, that's like I said, another way where I kind of, because I feel like as an artist, you do need to be around other artists at times. Like, it doesn't need to be all the time, but you definitely still need that to kind of feed your creativity, bounce ideas off of them, be immersed in that kind of environment every once in a while. You just need that. Whether you do guest spots, whether you do expos, I think that's super important as a tattoo artist in this industry, because I think there's a lot of benefit. There's been times when I've been at expos where I've met people and artists that I've looked up to since I started, and I never thought I would have made a connection with them or even met them ever. And just by being there, I was able to have conversations with them. I was able to get feedback. I was able to ask them for criticism, for everything like that. And I've met some of the coolest people at those things, like coolest artists, whatever it is. And it's been super impactful in my career. But like I said, that's kind of where I get that from. And then I can go back to the studio and kind of go back to doing my own thing, being in my own lane or whatever it is. But yeah, that's essentially why I think I've always leaned kind of like more this route and this lane compared to the tattoo shops. Again, I have nothing against them. Everyone thinks that, but I don't have anything against tattoo shops. I think they're great for the right people. For the right people, they are amazing environments. People I know thrive in those environments. Being around other people, getting feedback, getting criticism daily, it's great. You know what I mean? But another big reason was a lot of tattoo shops, they don't want you building your own brand within their brand. Some do, some are great, and I think those are great at adapting to like where we're at in society. Like, there is people that if you can encourage them to, if you're secure enough as a shop owner or as a brand or whatever, and you can have other people working under you, but you encourage them to make their own brand as well, then that's great. But for most places, you know, they want you to work under them, under their brand, under their identity, whatever they identify with, they want you under the structure of that. They want you doing the same things they're doing. They want you going the same places they're going. And again, for some people that works great. For me, I know I've always wanted to do my own thing. I've always wanted my own brand. I've always wanted that type of identity for myself compared to just doing it under somebody else. Because, and I feel like that's the part where you just have to be self-aware with yourself. You have to know yourself. And I've always known myself in that area where it's like, I can work great together with others. I can collab on things. I can do a bunch of networking things. But for me personally, I've never done good with like working under somebody else's umbrella of their brand, as far as like, do what I say, do as I tell you to do, and that's it. You know what I mean? And if you don't do that, then we have an issue. And that's where I've known that I know I make it harder on myself by getting a private studio, having to pay all the bills myself, having to do this, having to do that. I get that. But for me, it's like, that's one of those things that I was willing to take on and sacrifice, knowing that I could have complete creative control. I could make decisions when I want to, you know, whatever it is. That was the thing that always, you know, I knew the sacrifice and the trade-off for that. Because if I'm just being honest with you, it is hard to build a brand. It is hard to build an identifiable brand. It is hard to build all those things, business for yourself, all those different things. It is a lot easier to go work under somebody else and work under their brand that's already has a structure, and you can kind of tie yourself to that. And, you know, that has a lot of benefits in itself. You don't have to really worry about this or that or building this or building that. You just kind of keep, you know, keep igniting these flames that are already burning under this brand, and just keep going with it and just getting it bigger and bigger, and you're a part of that, and that's cool too. But like I said, it's just to each their own. But for me, that's kind of why I've always leaned this way. And again, I know I rambled a lot in this type of video, and I'm trying to get better at these like just talking head videos and staying on script. I don't have a script for this video, so it's probably is a little bit all over the place. But I'm trying to get better at this just so that I can start pumping out more and more content to you guys directly. instead of trying to just wait for this moment or that moment or wait for this to happen and then I'll make content on that. Like, I'm just trying to have more realer conversations with you guys, whether it's over a specific topic or thing or whatever it is, just to have more of an open conversation about things, because I think a lot of good can come out of it. I know that I wish a lot of these videos were kind of there for me when I was first beginning, because maybe it would help me understand and take different approaches or different routes, or just knowing that somebody else is going through the same type of thing. Like, I mean, I didn't know how to draw 3-4 years ago. I didn't have an art background. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't do any of that stuff. So I'm trying to also kind of be like that outlet for people that maybe relate the same way and are struggling the same way. Like, oh, I don't know where to go. I don't know how to do this. I don't know if this is for me or not. At least, you know, I'm trying to make this channel for that kind of environment where, you know, you're not alone. You're not by yourself with this. So again, I try and keep everything pretty positive. If I ever do address something negative or a comment or something like that, I think that certain things can be talked about just to build some kind of constructive criticism or something constructive out of it. And having conversations I've always believed in can do that, you know. So essentially, that's why I went the private studio route compared to just going to a tattoo shop. Hopefully that enlightens some things kind of behind the scenes of like why I did what I did and kind of my reasons for it. So that's it. If you guys want to talk about anything else, drop them in the comments below. If you want me to address anything, if you want me to comment on something or ask a question about something maybe you're struggling with as a tattoo artist, or whatever it is, something you're curious about in this industry, whatever it is, drop it in the comments. I'm gonna read through all of them. I'll reply to all you guys. That's it. We already hit 1K subs, so I appreciate all you guys. We're on the road to 10K now, trying to get that done, and just keep pumping out content that you guys want to enjoy. So drop it in the comments, whatever you guys want to see. I love you guys. I'm out.